There is a common assumption that the light skin and hair seen in Europe today were simple evolutionary responses to the Ice Age, a way for early humans to blend into the snow or adapt to the extreme cold. The genomic record suggests otherwise. At the onset of the Younger Dryas cold snap, roughly 12,900 years ago, Europe was a world of ice, but it was not a world of light-skinned people. Every Homo sapiens alive during this period, including those hunting mammoths and giant sloths across the European tundra, carried the genetics for dark skin. The genetic mutations required for lighter pigmentation did exist during the last glacial maximum, between 19,000 and 29,000 years ago. However, these markers remained at low frequencies, restricted to small groups in Siberia and West Asia. They did not define the appearance of any population in Europe. If the most extreme cold in human history failed to produce a light-skinned population, we have to look to a different mechanism to explain how these traits eventually became dominant. By 10,000 years ago, the first characteristic of the modern European phenotype emerged: blue eyes. This trait traces back to a mutation in the HERC2 and OCA2 genes that likely appeared in a single human ancestor living near the Black Sea. Ancient DNA confirms this timeline. By sequencing the genome of remains like Britain's Cheddar Man, researchers can pinpoint exactly which traits were present thousands of years ago. The data shows that Cheddar Man possessed striking blue eyes, but he also had dark curly hair and dark to black skin. These traits did not arrive as a single package. Features like eye color and skin tone moved independently across the map, waiting for later migrations to bring them together. A major shift occurred around 8,500 years ago, as Anatolian farmers began moving from modern-day Turkey into the territories of European hunter-gatherers. These farmers introduced the SLC24A5 genetic variant for lighter skin. This chart compares vitamin D levels of two lifestyles. Hunter-gatherers relied on meat and fish, naturally rich in vitamin D. The new grain-based diet provided almost none. In Northern Europe's low UV environment, this deficiency created a biological crisis. Lighter skin synthesizes sunlight more efficiently, providing a survival advantage that caused these genes to spread rapidly. The pale skin seen in Europe today was not an adaptation to snow, but a response to the vitamin D deficit caused by early farming. The final major genetic contribution arrived 5,000 years ago with the Yamnaya pastoralists, who migrated from the Pontic-Caspian steppe. This migration introduced the KITLG mutation for blonde hair. Previously, this trait had been confined to isolated groups in Siberia, but the arrival of the Yamnaya brought it into the broader European population. The modern European appearance is the result of these separate migrations overlapping and integrating over thousands of years. The combination of pale skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes only began to appear as a common regional trait between 4,000 and 5,000 years ago. It took until roughly 3,000 years ago for this specific phenotype to become statistically dominant in northern European populations. To put that in perspective, this physical appearance is younger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. This look emerged after the invention of the wheel and after the domestication of the horse. On a timeline of the 300,000-year history of modern humans, the traits we associate with Europe today occupy only a tiny sliver at the very end. This biological history is also distinct from our modern social categories. While the physical traits stabilized 3 millennia ago, the racial label white was only established in the 1500s, a much later development in human history. The features used to define human difference today are not ancient markers, but the recent result of a species that never stopped moving and mixing.